Hello, it's Carol Martine, welcoming you back to my studio. It's a Friday afternoon, and I was just about ready to explode if I couldn't share this with you. Now, anyone who does art knows that there are times when something just hits you. Well, it can get overwhelming. And if it wasn't a public place, you could make a complete fool of yourself. So, this little baby rocked my planet today. I had gone way across Jacksonville to see an watercolor exhibition from the Jacksonville Watercolor Society, primarily because my teacher, the wonderful Jenny Saltis, received an award at this show, and I certainly was not a girl who didn't know that I really ought to get myself over there so that I could speak knowledgeably about the program and her particular picture. So, that being done, on the way back, I remembered that there was a little tiny antique mall tucked up a side street, and I thought, no, let me get home. Yes, let me go. Well, I went. And about a third of the way through, in a little booth, I looked down and there was a big tin bucket full of books. And right on the top was this puppy. And truly, it made me crazy. Probably because of that name, Monna Vanna. You'll notice the condition of the gilt, the cover. Now, and it's by Harper's. And realizing that this was probably something I ought to have my little hand on, I swooped. And after the name drove me crazy, I opened it, and Ada Gates, I guess it was her book. And I do love an old semi-crisp book. And here is the picture of Maurice Maeterlinck. And the minute I saw this picture, I said, aha, can you believe that the tissue is still intact? A play in 3 acts, translated, New York and London, Harper and Brothers, which is one of their older imprints, and copyright 1903 by Harper and Brothers, published in September 1903. List of characters. Title page, and the play begins. My. So, what kind of a girl who had any sense about herself wouldn't see this immediately as a wonderful chance to repurpose an antique book, which I imagine when it was purchased originally was not of the highest order, but I couldn't resist. And for $2, I almost hurt myself getting those $2 bills out. What I've decided to do is repurpose this into a journal. And of course, driving home, my mind was totally into this and how I was going to plan it. What I've decided is, first, since it is very tender, and I imagine this paper would work like a tissue, I am going to take the license, while I repurpose this book, of putting 2 pages together. I'm going to use my Yoo-hoo stick to put 2 pages together. In fact, I'm going to do this one right now while I'm speaking to you. So, on the drive home, I decided that sepia has been calling me. I don't know why, but it has been in my mind that I wanted to work with sepia, shades of brown, and here I was given an absolutely wonderful opportunity to do just that. I'm going to stop for a moment and get my squeegee. All right. I also decided that I'm going to begin working on just a half spread. So there, the first 2, and one more, just to be ahead of the game a little bit. I decided to use glue stick because this is very, very tender paper, and I didn't want to put a wet medium on it because I didn't think it would take kindly to it. In fact, I was afraid that it would absolutely become pulp again. So, alrighty. I also decided that in order to prepare this for anything that I might want to do, that I was going to prep the pages with gesso, but of course I wanted some of this to still show, so I'm going to use clear gesso and not too much of it. Let's see what happens. Well, not too much with that brush. Better. Alrighty. Alrighty, I will get back with you because I'm sure you don't need to see me apply gesso to these sides because I have some more goodies that I want to share with you. I'll be back in a moment. When I used to do stitchery, I often found that it made a lot of sense for me personally to keep the particular stitchery materials, the needles, and all of my fibers together for one project. And I used these plastic trays that I've been culling from various and sundry places for eons. So this is the second time I've done this. The other day I did it because I gathered all of my flower stencils for my new flower journal, and I thought on the way home with Monna Vanna, I decided that I would go sepia crazy and get all of my potential media together for working in this repurposed journal. I remembered that deep down in the bottom of a drawer I had some tissue that I had purchased quite a while back, and lo and behold, look at those colors. So they were included. I haven't even begun to delve into my other possible collage pieces. While getting these out, my hand hit these two, and I thought they might or might not work a treat. But in the same drawer, look what I found. Now, it's not possible for anything to tickle me more than this does. And I know that many of you do understand the particular part of the brain that reacts to seeing that. So, that went in okay. As you can see, I hit lots of stuff. I got out my unbleached titanium. I got my sepia high flow, my Van Dyke brown, and my raw umber. I also got out my burnt umber folk art, my magnolia white, which is not quite pure white. Love, love, love this Ceramcoat color. It's an old, you can see from the label, it's an oldie but goodie. And this particular beige foncé by Plaid Apple Barrel. This is a lovely, lovely shade. While I was at it, I thought, well, I've gessoed the page, so it should be able to take a little bit of, a moderate amount of water. So I went into my watercolor drawer, and I pulled out gouache, burnt umber, yellow ochre, white, and a neutral gray. I went in and got out my gray and my brown Faber-Castell gelatos. I got out some watercolors. This one is neutral tint. This one is sepia, burnt umber, and Chinese white. I went and picked out my compressed pastel sticks that seem to work within the idea that I want to maintain in this journal. Well, at least I do now. My Dr. Martin's brown India ink. My pen with points for the India ink. A pink pearl, because how can you start a new project without a nice fresh pink pearl? Can't do it, absolutely can't. And while I was rummaging, I decided to check, and this elegant writer is sepia. I took out 2 Derwent, a watercolor, and an Inktense pencil. In my Neos, I took out my raw umber, my Van Dyke, and dark sepia. Sharpie brown, watercolor brush, my set of sepia microns, and this set was wonderful because I think I got this on a 50 or 60% off coupon at Michael's. Naturally, my brown Stabilo all. Now I put these 2 black ones in here because you know these are my go-to Signo Uniballs gel pens. Love them, love them, love them. Don't know if I'm going to use them, Don't know how I feel about the black being here, but I don't want to be too OCD. So that is my plan for my toys. And as you can see, I'm going to be experimenting, having lots of fun, and I hope that you will be joining me. I'm going to put some more clear gesso on the back of these pages, of these two that I've prepped, and I will be starting tomorrow morning because I have some other things that need to be done today. Sometimes the real world just butts right in, but I will be getting back to working tomorrow, and in the meantime, I'm going to see if I cannot get this uploaded to share with you. If you have enjoyed watching the beginning of this journey, please feel free to give me a thumbs up, leave a comment. I'm going to show you this one more time. I can't believe it. Leave a comment, share with an arty friend, and I would certainly appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel. Alrighty? I will see you tomorrow when I begin to play. Bye now.